At dinner, my husband suddenly asked me, "What if I meet someone better than you?" I paused for a moment. "Then you should be with her, and well, get a divorce." What he didn't know was that I had already seen him fumbling to console Luna, whose eyes were red. He had told her, "Don't cry. It'll give you a future." When he put down his fork, his face suddenly turning grim. After a long silence, he managed a strained laugh. "Grace, I was just joking." It wasn't a joke. I knew it. I had experienced his love. So I knew he had truly fallen for that girl. Earlier that day at the hospital, the initially impatient doctor had become gentle after seeing my report. He lowered his voice to inform me, "Don't be afraid, your illness isn't advanced. With active treatment, it can be cured." As I left with my diagnosis, I saw them. Marcus had injured his arm, and Luna's eyes were red with sympathy. "Why did I meet you so late? I can't even openly care for you." Marcus fumbled, blood seeping from his freshly bandaged arm. He said, "Don't cry, it'll give you a future." The words hung in the air, and he himself seemed startled, perhaps regretting his slip of the tongue, but believed him. Her nose tip was red as she looked up and asked, "Really?" Marcus frowned, saying nothing. I didn't watch the rest of the scene. I knew Marcus's boundaries. While married to me, he wouldn't physically cheat, but his heart, I couldn't control that. Too, I also wanted to know what kind of girl he considered better than me. I found the corresponding person on his phone. I wanted to see with my own eyes what kind of girl had so easily shattered 8 years of my life with him. We had endured a long-distance relationship. We had endured the pandemic. We had endured our poorest days. Yet, we were defeated by a better girl. I saw her at the state university. Indeed, she was full of youthful vitality. An old woman collecting recyclables was struggling to bend over. Her heavy-duty canvas bag suddenly tore, scattering empty beverage bottles everywhere. Luna, wearing a creamy white jacket, quickly ran over and helped the old woman pick them all up. She helped the old woman all the way to a sheltered spot. I followed behind, like a spy. Sudden, hurried footsteps approached. A figure quickly ran in front of me, blocking my view. I looked up. Marcus stood with his arms spread, shielding Luna, his lips trembling. "Grace, it's not her fault." Not her fault. Whose fault was it then? Was it mine? Luna only then realized I was behind her. Turning back in surprise, our eyes met, and she awkwardly looked away. 3 at the coffee shop. Marcus sat across from me, a hint of pain in his eyes. He said, "Grace, He couldn't continue. I also wanted to know, now that I, his wife, had discovered this. Would he choose to completely break up with the better girl? Or would he end things with me?" He opened his mouth, and finally, with difficulty, spoke. "Grace, I don't think I love you anymore." I said nothing, but my body was more honest than I was. My eyes welled up first. He was flustered. "Don't cry." He stared at me blankly for a long time before sliding a tissue across the table to me. He sighed in relief. "Grace, we've been together since we were 18, 8 years now. I know I'm a jerk. I'm despicable. But, after all this time, my love for you had long turned into a family bond. This is something neither of us can resist." I asked him, "What about her then?" Marcus remained silent. "Or perhaps in the future, that will also change. But for now, I don't want to lie to you." He looked up, his voice bitter. "I haven't done anything out of line. If you're willing, we can still stay together. But, all I can give you now is responsibility and whatever time I have left." How could I describe what I felt then? Sadness? Or despair? Like a drowning prisoner, knowing the inevitable outcome of death, yet having to keep my eyes open, waiting for death to arrive. We sat in silence. After a while I spoke. "Let's set a time to get a divorce." For it was evening when I left the coffee shop. The golden red sunset was blinding. On the road outside, someone was lurking, trying to hide. Marcus spotted the person instantly and rushed over. Luna was startled and her face went pale. Marcus scolded her. "Luna, why are you here? Didn't I tell you to go back to your dorm? Have you been waiting all this time?" Luna secretly glanced at me, seemingly apologetic. She lowered her head to Marcus. I was worried about you." His expression immediately softened. "Don't overthink it." Suddenly, an indescribable wave of bitterness swept over me. I had thought nothing could make me sadder. 5. Don't overthink it. Those were the words he said to me, holding me during his graduation season. At the time, I cried my eyes red over the impending separation. Everyone said graduation meant breakup. Who could be certain about a long-distance relationship? He turned back at the station and embraced me, saying, "Grace, don't overthink it. I'll come see you as soon as I'm settled. Same platform. He went north, I went south. Initially, I lived in a smaller city. For my first birthday, he promised to be there, but he missed it. At 12:37 am, my rented room was pounded on. He rushed to me, embracing me, breathless, he said. I rushed as fast as I could, but I was still late. I later learned he had spent his last bit of money to see me. With no money for a taxi, he had walked. At the time, my place was 12 kilometers from the train station. I thought my life would be like that, though with regrets. There would be a belated completeness. But I was wrong. The second time was at the start of the pandemic. Both our jobs finally found stable footing in our respective regions. I tested positive for COVID. At that time, fever reducers were scarce throughout the city. In a city where I had no relatives, I didn't even have anyone to ask for help. The pain. I only remember how much it hurt. In the middle of the night, someone burst into my door, bringing fever reducers. After my fever broke, he held me, trembling all over. His face filled with the lingering fear of having barely escaped. He said, "Grace, I truly felt like I was going to lose you." He held me, tears dropping onto my shoulder. He said, "When I broke down the door, I really thought you were dead," he said. "I can't go through that feeling again. Grace, I can't lose you." How could I describe my emotion then? It was as if I had grasped a warmth I had never felt before, tangible. A golden warmth, simply lying docilely in my hand. Later, I recovered. He, in turn, developed a fever, lying in bed as if he couldn't breathe. But there was only one day left of his vacation. The precious fever reducers were gone. He grinned, showing his teeth. "Don't worry, it'll be fine. I'll just resign when I get back. From now on, I'll be with you." Love went to my head at that moment. I cried, clutching his hand. "Marcus, don't resign." "I will." It had been so difficult for him to secure a stable government job. How could he quit for me? Later, his fever broke. I also packed all my belongings in Clearwater. The moment I left, I asked him, "If I leave with you, what if you betray me?" A smile played on his lips. "Grace, don't overthink it," he said. "I love you, and I'll love you for this entire lifetime." I actually knew that promises are only true the moment they are spoken, but I still believed him, relishing it. Marcus returned home in the night. He stood at the front door, silently watching me for a long time. "Grace, the house is yours. I'm moving out," I said. "Okay." 7 years of dating, 1 year of marriage. For 8 years, every item in the room was something we had bought for our love. Marcus silently packed a few clothes. He suddenly looked at me. "Grace, why have you lost weight?" Why had I lost weight? Because I had cancer, and my body was weak. Because your constant worry kept me from eating or sleeping. Because I suspected you're wavering, and couldn't swallow food. But what could I say? To morally bind Marcus to my side, only to torture each other. There was no point anymore. Finally, I looked away, just finished packing quickly. "Don't make me look at you." Marcus seemed disheartened. He sighed and went into the study to retrieve his belongings. Coming out, he passed me again, his expression forlorn. "Grace, I still consider you my closest family." He asked me, "Can we still stay in touch in the future?" I looked at him and nodded calmly. "Well, register tomorrow. There's a legal waiting period, and you can contact me twice during that time." He stared at me, a bitter smile on his face. "You haven't changed at all. You're unyielding." Just before the door closed, he looked back at me, a flicker of struggle in his eyes. "Grace, your home isn't here. If there's anything I can help with, you can still contact me anytime." He paused, then added, "Luna is a good girl. She won't mind." I didn't respond. A minute later, the front door closed. The house was still mine, but after he had entered and left, it felt almost completely empty. The sense of loss left my chest heavy with pain. That night, I took triple the dose of sleeping pills. The agreed upon time with Marcus was 9 in the morning. After registering the marriage dissolution, I was supposed to go through the hospital admission procedures in the afternoon. I had prepared the documents needed for the divorce and packed my hospital bag. In the study, my medical reports were still there. I pulled open the drawer. It was empty. I instantly became fully alert. My CT scan report had been there yesterday. The only person who could have taken it was Marcus. At 8:50, I arrived early at the county's office. He was there before me, getting out of his car, looking somewhat haggard. Silently, he entered the county's office. 8 years of a relationship. A flimsy piece of paper stamped, could declare it over. As I turned to leave, Marcus called out to me, hesitating. Grace. He seemed reluctant. If you're really sad, I can. What about Luna then? I asked the crucial question. Marcus said nothing. I smiled calmly. Let's just end it here. Marcus followed me. Grace, you knew about this already, didn't you? I didn't have time to speak. Luna ran over to the entrance, looking at me timidly. She bit her lip for a long time, then whispered, Grace, I'm sorry, it's our fault. I didn't wait for her to finish, turning and walking away. They both knew it was wrong. So why did they do it anyway? 9 After getting my hospital number, the doctor scheduled surgery for 5 days later. Cancer surgery requires a family member's consent. It seemed I had no one else, only in Clearwater, whom I rarely contacted. The phone rang, and she answered quickly. Before I could speak, she began to complain. You stubborn girl. It took you this long to call me. Uncle keeps talking about you, wanting you home for the holidays. You haven't been back in years. For some reason, my voice suddenly caught Margaret. Immediately, she fell silent. After composing myself, I spoke. Can you come to Ocean View? I'll pay for your flight. Why do you want me to go? It's almost the holidays. Flights are expensive as hell. You'd be better off buying Uncle some good wine with that money. Margaret, I have cancer. A clang echoed on the other end of the phone. After a long, chaotic silence, Margaret's voice came through. You. What happened to you? Where's Marcus? I said, I got a divorce. Margaret was silent for a long time on the phone. I guess she was probably staring blankly with her mouth open. For so long that I leaned back against the headboard, lost in a daze. Suddenly, I heard uncontrollable sobbing from the phone. Where are you? Your mother is coming right now. She was clearly crying, but still scolding me. Why didn't you listen to Uncle? He found someone for you to marry locally, but you refused. You stubborn girl. You stubborn girl. I suddenly laughed. Margaret, don't cry. I'm fine. It's early stage cancer. The doctor says I can be cured. 10 Margaret booked the earliest flight. Early stage lung cancer typically has no obvious symptoms. As I lay down, half asleep, I felt a dull ache in my chest, drifting into a haze. I seemed to see myself in my freshman year. Margaret working late at night to earn money. Uncle was in the living room, drinking with his friends. When they got drunk, someone would knock on my door. He would laugh and call my nickname. Grace, you're a big girl now. Let Uncle touch you. That night, I used the water pitcher by my bed to hit him, then ran out of that house in the cold night. I had nowhere to go. I found Margaret in the back kitchen of a hot pot restaurant. She pulled me aside and just cried. She said, My girl, don't blame Uncle. That night, I left. I returned to the state university, and it was already midnight when I got off the train. I encountered a few drunk students. From a distance, they whistled at me. It was that day I met Marcus, who was working to put himself through college. He was rushing toward the dorms. I ran up to him, grabbed his hand. Husband, wait for me. He turned in surprise. His gaze met the drunkard's, and understanding. He grasped my hand in return. He said, Let's go. Husband will escort you back to your dorm. I always felt that meeting him that night was the only stroke of luck in my misfortune. Later, he told me, Grace, my name is Marcus, and I was born to care for you. He then asked, surprised, Did your family give you this name to wish you peace and beauty too? I told him, no. My mother said, first a girl, then a boy, so let's call her Good. It's like Zhaudi meaning to invite a younger brother. That day, Marcus looked at me in silence for a long time. His eyes filled with a pang of sympathy. My dream ended there. My phone vibrated, ringing madly. When I answered, it was Marcus's trembling voice. Grace, where are you? What is this CT scan report? What does considering lung cancer mean? He was shouting and losing control on the phone. I, on the other hand, drifted off. I don't know how long he was breaking down on the other end, but I came back to myself. My voice was light. What does it have to do with you? His voice caught, then it turned hoarse, and he lowered it to console me, just like years ago. Grace, where are you? Can I come find you? I thought for a moment. I still told him, You don't need to worry that I'll die. I'll be there on time in 30 days. He suddenly choked up. Grace, you're really sick. Are you trying to break my heart? When have I ever broken his heart? On the contrary, he had already taken mine, completely emptied it. 11 Margaret arrived the next afternoon. She had brought nothing, and her eyes were swollen. This woman, who had never traveled far in her life, found my hospital room with hurried steps. She kept scolding. You're in your late 20s. Almost 30. You can't take care of yourself. only 'cause trouble for the family. Without me, Uncle wouldn't even get a hot meal. She continued to scold, then choked up again. That rotten Marcus. Didn't he promise me he would be good to you for life? At that moment, someone burst into my hospital room door. He was breathless. Seeing me, his eyes instantly turned red. He ran a few steps, then stopped, standing still, his fists trembling. You're sick. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't understand. What good would telling you do? Marcus couldn't finish. I guess he was about to say that if he had known I was sick, he wouldn't have chosen to leave at this time. I closed my eyes, feeling tired. Just leave, stay away from me. I heard a man's choked sob, then rapid footsteps and a sharp slap. I opened my eyes. Marcus's head was turned from the blow. Marcus, are you even human? I entrusted my wonderful daughter to you. What did you promise? You said you'd guarantee her happiness for life? Is she happy? I ask you, is she happy having cancer surgery alone in a hospital? Margaret's body trembled, her voice becoming shrill. Marcus's hands were clenched tightly. He was speechless. After a long moment, he said hoarsely, I'm sorry, Grace. Get out. Margaret's curses were harsh, but ultimately, they didn't drive him away. The tall man, eyes red, insisted on staying and refused to leave. He told Margaret, the marriage dissolution decree hasn't come through yet. Grace and I are still married. I wanted to tell him not to call my mother Margaret, but a sharp pain shot through my chest and abdomen. I couldn't speak. 12 pre-operative examination. After reviewing the reports, the doctor asked who the family member was and stepped out for a moment. Margaret instinctively walked out, but after 2 steps, she suddenly stopped. Her already stooped back seemed to bend even lower as she helplessly looked at Marcus. She opened her mouth. Marcus, you go. She ran back and sat beside me, far from the door, yet instinctively leaning her body forward, trying to hear something outside. It was silent. I think I even fell asleep for a while before I saw Marcus return. His lowered hands were tightly clenched, trembling slightly. I was the person who knew him best. Well, I used to know him best. I knew that meant his emotions were fluctuating violently, and he was forced to suppress them. Even though Margaret had shown him utter hatred, she still rushed over and grabbed him. What did the doctor say? It's nothing, Margaret, just some pre-operative instructions. Margaret was completely distraught. She could only nod blankly. It was actually a small surgery, just making an incision in the lung to remove the cancerous cells, but they were all incredibly nervous, afraid I would die. I shouldn't die. I shouldn't, right? 13 The day before the surgery, I saw Luna again. Margaret didn't recognize her, assuming she was a good friend of mine. She brought homemade chicken soup. I heard she had secretly stewed it in her dorm. While I was out, she also sent Marcus away. She looked at me vaguely. Grace, nothing has ever happened between Marcus and me. She asked me, can you recover? I'm willing to find a boyfriend in college right away and stay far away from your family. As she spoke, she bit her lip hard. She said, Grace, I'm sorry, I hurt you. I frowned. I don't want to see you. Her face went pale. She looked like she was about to cry, but held it in tightly. She lowered her head, still saying she was sorry. She wiped her face, pretended nothing was wrong, and pushed open the door to leave. How annoying. I have cancer, but it's early stage. One by one, they all acted as if I were going to die. Marcus pushed open the door and came in, silently taking away the homemade chicken soup. You need to fast and abstain from water. He paused. Luna actually knows that, but she still wanted to do something. An inexplicable pain flared in my chest. I coughed with a frown. Can you shut up? He fell silent. He put things away, then softly soothed me. Grace, you'll be fine. It's my fault for losing my way outside of our marriage. In the future, I'll never joke with you like that again. I turned my head away, looking out the window. The view was beautiful. 14 Luna truly was a good girl. She probably didn't even remember it herself. Before I was diagnosed with lung cancer, I had a high fever and went to the hospital. Marcus was away on a business trip then, and I, dizzy and disoriented, collided with her in the hospital, almost fainting. The young girl was kind-hearted. She immediately grabbed me, seeing I was alone. She helped me throughout. She didn't leave until I had received my fever-reducing shot. She herself didn't remember it, but out of gratitude, I exchanged numbers with her, every day on her social media posts. I could see her expressing her secret crush. She and Marcus still hadn't even held hands. I knew it. I also knew that she was indeed a better girl than me. from a loving family. She would be raised to be gentle, kind, and confident. She wasn't like me. Extreme, cold, unyielding. I didn't trust anyone, except Marcus, 15 before the surgery. I had to undergo a biopsy and have a catheter inserted. It truly hurt so much. I was in too much pain to cry out, and then I saw Margaret biting her own arm, crying silently. Sigh, she truly was old. If my surgery went well this time, I thought, I wouldn't resent her anymore. I changed into a hospital gown and was wheeled into the operating room. The moment the heavy door closed, I heard Margaret's uncontrollable, wailing sobs. Anesthetic was pushed into my body, and the glaring surgical light shone down. I maintained my last shred of consciousness, pleading, "Can you stitch me up carefully? I want to live beautifully." 16 Surgery was a very, very long sleep. There seemed to be nothing in this world worth lingering for. But I still wanted to live. Fortunately, I did get off that operating table. When I opened my eyes, I was still dazed. Margaret had already grabbed my hand. "My girl, how are you feeling?" Her eyes were brimming with tears. I wanted to cough, but my chest ached with fullness. I held it in. Not coughing, "I'm fine." I slept without distinguishing day or night. I don't remember how much time passed. Luna came again, bringing soothing rice pudding. She didn't dare look at me, put down the thick porridge, and left. To be honest, it smelled delicious, but I didn't want to eat. Marcus saw I had no intention of eating and silently moved it away. "Grace, I'll cook you some at home, okay?" My throat was dry, and I turned to look at him. "I don't need anything from you." His expression showed pain. He just stayed by my side, persistent. Margaret secretly told me, "My girl, he didn't physically cheat. Just forgive him." I shook my head. Even if I die, I wouldn't want to be his wife who died while he was with someone else. Margaret stared at me blankly for a long time. She secretly wiped away tears. "Do whatever you want. Your mother can't control you anyway. Your generation." I pulled away from her spoon. Margaret's eyes reddened. "My girl, are you still in so much pain?" I wanted to say I wasn't in pain, but she didn't give me a chance. Pushing the spoonful of porridge into my mouth, it was smooth, with the unique sweetness of rice. 17 After the surgery, I had to be clapped on the back to clear phlegm every day. Margaret's hands weren't strong enough. My back became swollen from her pats, but it had little effect. Marcus took over the task. He clapped my back every day. On the 4th day after the surgery, he suddenly suggested, trembling, "Grace, let's not get a divorce anymore." "Marcus." I looked at him seriously. "Are you unable to bear your inner condemnation?" He awkwardly looked away. "I will make it up to you for the rest of my life, Grace. My future might involve taking many, many medicines, spending a lot of money, and requiring a great deal of energy." He suddenly grabbed my hand very tightly. I know all of it, but I don't regret it. But I'm not willing to give you that chance." I lowered my eyes, staring at the veins bulging on his knuckles. "Do you know, even if I become a star, I wouldn't want to shine on you." He suddenly released my hand, as if drained of all strength, freezing in place. "Do you hate me that much?" I couldn't help my eyes from reddening. Hate? I didn't have time to hate him. I just wanted to live well. They didn't say anything, but I saw the doctor take family members outside every time he checked my condition. Several patients from the same batch of tumor surgeries had already been discharged. Only I, and a young girl in the next bed, remained. She had stomach cancer, 23 years old, even younger than me. Chemotherapy and radiation tormented her, swelling her eyes so she couldn't see her pupils, and all her hair had fallen out. During the day, she told me, "Sister, we must believe in miracles." Then at night, she tossed and turned in pain. When the room was emptier, she said again, "It feels like I've just walked through this world, and in the end, only my parents, whom I've worn out, will remember me." Just as I was on the verge of collapsing in the hospital, I was informed that I could prepare for discharge the next day. The young girl looked at me with envy. "I want to go out too." I took her hand. "You'll be out soon too." That night, her heart monitor blared wildly. The on-call doctors and nurses all rushed over to provide emergency treatment. She was rushed out the next day. After I had packed my bags for discharge, I saw Lily's family return. They silently packed her belongings, no one speaking a word. "Where is she?" I asked. Her family glanced at me with a forced smile. They said, "Lily has become a star." Such a distant yet close word. I stood frozen. But someone instantly put an arm around my shoulder. Marcus, his eyes red, said, "Grace, you won't end up like that. You'll be healthy." I nodded. I wouldn't end up like that. I was already fine, healthy. 18 Marcus drove home. He didn't bring back the things he had taken. But he insisted on coming inside with me. I'll sleep on the floor. The floor is fine. Late at night, I was woken by a cough. He rushed over from the floor, skillfully patting my back. He suddenly blurted out, "Once you're better, let's go traveling." I looked at him, startled. Before we were married, I had planned many trips, but they were put on hold due to lack of money. Later, Marcus was busy. He had no time. Marcus's eyes were full of tenderness, his voice soft and coaxing. "I'll take time off from work. I'll go anywhere you want." For some reason, my heart, along with the feeling in my chest, swelled and ached with an itchy pain. I turned my face away. 4 more days. He froze, then became flustered when he realized what I meant. 4 more days until the legal waiting period expired. He grabbed me blankly. "Grace. No, I've changed my mind." I took a deep breath. "Don't make me take this to court. It would be embarrassing for everyone." His face went pale, pleading, "Grace, I don't want to go through the hassle." "Marcus, if you really want to make amends, don't make me go to court." His body trembled. He couldn't believe it. I closed my eyes. So tired. 19 Margaret made the only delicious dish she had ever cooked in her life, egg fried rice. The reason was that my rotten biological father loved it, so did I. But after she married Uncle, she never made it again. That man didn't like eggs. Her skills were rusty. She made mistakes 3 times, either too much salt, or the eggs tasted unbearably fishy. She sighed in the kitchen. I heard her old flip phone ring. It sounded loud. The person on the other end shouted, "Old woman, why aren't you back yet? Your Henry got into trouble. He drank too much and got into a car accident. Now he's in critical condition at the hospital." Through the kitchen glass, Margaret turned around, and I saw her wipe her face. She raised her voice. "What? My signal's bad. I can't hear you." She furiously turned off her phone, her hands trembling. Her entire life, since marrying Uncle, she had always obeyed him, never leaving him for more than a day. I had always thought of her as a blindly devoted old woman. I suddenly realized that I genuinely didn't resent her anymore. Margaret stood with her back to me in the kitchen, plucking green onion leaves. "Margaret," I called her. She tossed the green onion leaves aside. "Don't call me. I'm making a fresh batch right away." "You naughty girl, so picky. Why are you rushing me?" It seemed she hadn't called me "you stubborn girl" in a long time. She specifically avoided the word stubborn. She wouldn't turn around to let me see her face. I said, "Margaret, go back." Her movements paused. She suddenly turned to me, forcing a particularly ugly smile. "No, I'm not going back. Don't listen to their nonsense. I'm going to enjoy my life here in Ocean View." As her words fell, she suddenly covered her face and rushed into the spare bedroom, closing the door. Inside, it was completely silent. No sound escaped. I suddenly looked up at the ceiling. "Don't cry. Don't cry. Grace, don't cry." 20 at the county's office. The staff must have noticed my abnormal state as the marriage dissolution decree was being printed, accompanied by the machines whirring. They secretly glanced at me several times. I smiled, my cracked lips dry and painful. "I'm not being forced. I'm divorcing voluntarily." The staff member looked at Marcus again, then said earnestly, "Girl, we can all live well without anyone. Be optimistic and be kind to yourself." I could only smile. Okay. 21 The red marriage license was exchanged for a red marriage dissolution decree. I went home, but still stubbornly followed me. I stopped at the apartment building entrance. "Don't follow me anymore." His voice was rough. "Grace, don't send me away, please." I said, "But this isn't your home anymore." Marcus's eyes reddened. It's my fault for destroying my home. But can I just follow you? I'll just watch from a distance. I won't do anything." My chest surged, air rushed up my windpipe, and I coughed, tasting rust in my throat. He quickly patted my back. I pushed his hand away. "Broken things stay broken. You can't glue them back to their original state. Just leave. Don't make me disgusted with you." "Grace," he called out to me, but his lips could only tremble weakly, unable to say anything else. I pulled open the apartment building entrance. It closed with a heavy thud. He and I were completely separated by the heavy door. 22 Margaret didn't leave the house. She couldn't find her way around Ocean View. Yet, every so often, she'd conjure up all sorts of things I loved to eat from home: vegetables, fruits, all fresh. I peered down from the window. I saw Marcus's hurried footsteps every day. What was the point? I wouldn't appreciate it anyway. Margaret would mutter in my ear, Marcus is actually not a bad guy. He didn't do anything to wrong you. He just told the truth. All of us from the older generation went through similar things. You naughty girl. You should count your blessings. I'd occasionally see her cooking. The food was clearly not meant for just two people. She'd secretly open the front door, take the food out, and then bring back the empty dishes about 10 minutes later. Oh, Marcus would spend his days in the hallway. Then, after I fell asleep at night, Margaret would secretly let him in. I'd curl up and sleep on the couch, but I was coughing so much I couldn't sleep all night, yet they genuinely thought I didn't know. 23 I never imagined. The word recurrence would come so fast. I coughed up a lot of blood one night and was rushed to the hospital. Margaret was sobbing uncontrollably. A little old woman who was only 50. She seemed to have aged considerably in just a few days. I held her hand. I wanted to tell her, Margaret, don't cry. I then learned that cancer cells in my lungs could spread incredibly fast. I also learned that to keep patients positive, doctors usually downplay the severity of the illness quite a bit. I then learned that chemotherapy was just in for drip. During the 4th drip, I felt intensely nauseous. I would dry heave and then see Margaret turn her back to me, secretly wiping away tears. It was happening so fast. This thing called a tumor wouldn't even give me time to react. I saw a man stumble into my room from my bed, murmuring, Grace, Grace, postscript. 1 The hospital had another life that couldn't be saved. A man found notes on her phone. October 7th, I'm sick, but Marcus isn't here, so I have to go to the hospital alone. But today, Luna helped me. She's so kind. May good people live long and peacefully. October 8th, Marcus finally came home today. Hell take me for my injections. I told myself I wasn't alone. I had the best Marcus in the world. October 9th, I found out today that is Marcus's intern if possible. Maybe he can help her out. The note stopped for several days here. When they resumed, it was October 21st. Turns out, she likes him too. October 22nd, I saw Marcus smoking all night on the balcony. He never smokes. Is it because of Luna? Or because of me? October 29th, today, I was diagnosed with cancer at the hospital. The doctor asked, where's your family? I thought Marcus? He must be busy. The doctor swallowed several times before lowering his voice and telling me, don't be afraid, with early-stage lung cancer like yours, aggressive treatment offers a good chance of cure. My mind went blank with a buzzing sound. I was only 26, I'd never smoked or drunk alcohol. So how could it be cancer? I don't remember how I left the hospital. I only remember, the moment I walked out, I saw Marcus, who felt a pang of sympathy as he looked at Luna. He said, don't cry, it'll give you a future. That evening, he asked me, what if I meet a girl better than you? My world seemed to collapse. December 24th, turns out, in medicine, there's another word. Recurrence, January 1st. I think I'm going to become a star too, but I haven't lived enough. I just recently forgave Margaret. She hasn't returned to Clearwater. Uncle isn't a good person. If doesn't go back to take care of him, I'm really worried he might physically harm Margaret. She's so old. If her only daughter in the world also becomes a star, what will she do? January 2nd, I dreamed of Marcus again today. In the dream, I died, really became a star. Then followed him every night, shining on him. But I truly haven't forgiven him. Even if I become a star, I don't want to shine on him. 2 At the train station, an old woman walked shakily. A young man, dressed all in black, came up behind her and took her arm. Margaret, even if you go back, take a plane. It'll take you. The old woman stubbornly shook him off. You don't need to take me. If it weren't for Grace, we two would have no connection at all. The man's eyes were red. Margaret, but Grace exists. Grace is in this world. The old woman cried, like a child. Maya's gone. I need to take her home. The train station buzzed with people. Many looked at them. The old woman wiped away tears. Carrying her luggage, she walked step by step into the station. Her steps faltered, her figure, desolate. These passersby didn't know her. Gone. How could her Grace have been born to her? Her whole life, without Grace. 3 Clearwater. The rainy season had arrived again. The old woman stumbled and ran up the mountain. But she saw a man already standing before her daughter's grave, though he was rather short. She didn't recognize this person. The old woman rushed over. Young man, are you paying respects at the wrong grave? This is my daughter's. The young man had red-rimmed eyes. No mistake, Mum. I also stopped by to see you. The old woman scrutinized her. She truly didn't recall anyone like this. Short hair, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, looking clean and refined. The child helped her laid flowers for her daughter, then knelt and laid 3 small stones herself, before helping her down the mountain. The old woman looked up. Young man, who are you? You should tell my daughter, otherwise she won't know who visited her. The young man pulled out a rolled-up envelope from their person and secretly slipped it into the old woman's vegetable basket. Mum, my name is Luna. I'm a girl. The old woman nodded. Although she didn't remember, there was a name her daughter would know. Her eyesight was blurry. Her rough hand gripped Luna's, a catch in her voice. All these years, only you and I have remembered her. That's all for today's story. Thank you for listening. This is my channel. The tales I share drawn from life or woven from imagination are meant to offer you connection, reflection, and perhaps solace or newfound strength. If you long to see your own reflection in others' journeys, or seek a glimmer of light within the maze of emotions, subscribe to my channel. Listen with your heart. Explore the stories of life.